Financial institutions are fighting against this, and they made some response. And of course, they also trying to explain us, always give us a stick and a carrot. And the carrot is that we will trade easily and earn more money, of course. And stick is that we will not have control under our assets. Let's roll a next clip.
This EU legal certainty group was beginning right after the dot-com bubble and bust, early 2000s, trying to figure out how to do it, how to conform to the U.S. model. Now they have done it. It took them over 10 years, but they implemented something called Central Securities Depository Regulation, CSDR regulation, and that basically imprinted on the European EU infrastructure, something like the DTC model we have in the U.S. I've fought against all this. I met with the Minister for Financial Markets and his state secretary in the early on in that period, and they acknowledged that this is real, and they were amazingly frank about it. They acknowledged this, and they said, well, we may not have to do it if the Germans will stand up against it. We're little Sweden. And the Germans did not stand up against it. So the juggernaut has rolled on, and Sweden, it's been subverted there. So this is now, people say, well, this has been fine for 30 years. Why is it a problem now? It has taken that long to put the same system in place globally. And that's where we are now. It is a monolith. And that's why if it can be addressed in any one place, that is a very powerful thing. I think it's in a way a gift to us because it's so clear. They, as I say, they have damned themselves with their own documents. They're just plain as day. And what it does is it's an issue that can unite all of us, all people, all the way to the top of the system. And that way, divide and rule does not work.
Well, I said in committee, I said most informed, thinking financial people can see this train going down the road, and they know down the track right down there is going to be a big colossal wreck. Everybody sees that, knows that. They just don't have anything in place to try and recover from it. And so actually we've been trying to run some bills here in this state that is an attempt to prepare people, or at least have an edge to keep them solvent and secure when that wreck happens. I think it's all orchestrated. I think it'll be on several fronts. I think it's financial, particularly first. And I think central bank digital currency be part of that. You control people's lives completely. When you do away with cash and you go to central bank digital currency, it's all programmable. So they do just exactly like Communist China does. And they control what you buy, how far you go, whether your car will even work, 2 miles from your house. So we're going to lose this republic. And to me, there's only two ways to salvage it. One, you need two things. One is a revival in the church where people get serious. And the second thing is state legislatures have to stand up when the federal government is unconstitutional in either law or rules or edicts. They're going to have to stand up and say to the federal government, no, we're not doing that here. And they're going to have to start nullifying unconstitutional actions by the federal government.
David says that it's globally, it's a monolith, and that's why it's obvious, because they release it to documents. Now it's obvious what they are trying to do. And of course, they are mentioning that central bank digital currency can be part of it. And you made a documentary about this. We had discussion, but it's important to connect these two things. Continue.
To get people into a position where they would accept central bank digital currencies, I think people need to be more poor. And this is sort of the way that they're planning to do that, to take away their savings. If you can't make your payments on your house, on your car, because you've lost all your savings, then you're going to be in a dependent situation. You're going to need assistance from the government, and you're going to be vulnerable and want to take these systems of control and free money. So the hand that gives is always the one that controls the hand that takes.
Good word. Hand that gives controls the hand that takes. You see here, David says that he tried to wake up people in Europe. He's living now in Sweden, and he tried from Sweden, but they said that Germany is the most important country. And as we see in the last elections, that more and more Germans are changing course. And it seems that they are recognize this problem for the future.
Yeah, but Germany's really just a colony of the United States since World War II. I mean, there's secret treaties making them the slave of the United States. I mean, look at the whole thing with the pipeline that was blown up, the Nord Stream. That they should be declaring war over that. Instead, they just didn't say anything. So the EU is totally dominated, and I think you guys need to separate from the EU. To assert your rights again. Again, this hand that gives controls the hand that takes. They always say in the EU, they go, oh, we got all this free stuff from the EU. They helped give us loans for infrastructure, blah, 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 and then they get these countries involved and they control them. So in Europe, you need to get out of that European Union structure, because I think it was set up to control these countries, and they're totally dominated. And, why should a law coming from Brussels be more powerful than a national law? I mean, that's crazy, So you have no control over your country if the EU bureaucracy can force laws and regulations onto your country. Anyway, that's a big subject. Yeah.
Yes, and we need to remind people that we are in Eurozone. That means that we are using euro and we are not have any more monetary sovereignty. That means European Central Bank is decide about monetary policy in Croatia also.
Yeah, it's a big problem. Yeah. So I think you really should not be merging national currencies like that. There's so many different things going on in each country economically, and I think people suffered a lot from the euro. Like every country that, particularly southern countries, like that took on the euro, had massive price increases. The cost of living went up so much in Italy and Spain. In Greece, like I remember going there in high school, and then later on, it's like 5 times the price. So people say, "Oh, well, we took the euro because we don't have to convert money when we go on vacation." But like now, everything's 5 times more expensive, and you're the total peasant. So yeah.
Well, as you said, they don't need to convert, but who is the only one who is earning on it? Banks. And now we have increasement of profit of banks just after we enter in Europe for the last 2 years. And nobody is recognizing, and regular people has a huge inflation. And this is something what is now obvious. Whoever knew something about economy could predict it, but it seems that we need to face by ourselves to believe it. And of course, respond from side of financial institutions are also hard